All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to season 2, episode 3 of Aveco Economic Forum. Here, we are going to discuss a very interesting, very trending topic which you might be seeing every day in news right now. And it has to be trending because there is so much of information that can be shared through blockchain operations and NFTs. This is some words you hear every day. You get to, understand why it is so important. But do you really know what the concept is about? That is exactly what we're going to discuss and how we as students should approach this subject because this is something even colleges haven't added to their portions. So it's completely new as an educative topic here.
Definitely, Akash. So actually, the point you noted out is that our education is currently not covering this topic. But as you move ahead in the future, we can see many of the top Indian corporates also uh, taking their businesses into the technology of blockchain, and NFTs are certainly a part of it. So we have to know this and to uh, certainly educate our viewers and to get their thoughts moving on through these topics. We are just having this kind of session. So let's get started. I'm so
Yes.
excited.
Yes, definitely. Very excited. So, guys, this is the Founders Edition. I'm Akash Subramanian, your host for today. I'm pursuing management studies right now, third year bachelor's. And I have Varad Kulkarni here, who's also the co founder, and he is currently pursuing his startup accountancy. And let's get started. We'll initially cover the topic of blockchain operations because that is exactly the entire foundation of working of cryptocurrencies, of NFTs, and many other things going ahead. Understanding blockchain. In very simple information, how blockchain works is it is kind of like the world wide web. You have an entire platform which parallel to the functioning of world wide web. You have information gathering, you have very specific blocks, so it's like virtual blocks made. So when you have, for example, money transfer, when you use your e-wallets, etc., you have a ledger prepared where your transaction money is recorded, is subtracted from your account, and it is added somewhere else. Similarly, blockchain functions. When you go onto the blockchain softwares and you do a money transfer, for example, using bitcoins, etc., there is a virtual block which stores information that from your account to this person's account, there is a sum of amount which is being submitted. And the most interesting fact is that there is no other person who's realizing the block is being made or a chain of blocks as you go forward with more transactions or more information gathering. That blocks is very specific to you. There's a private key which you hold and only you can access to it, and nobody else, not even any authority exists to actually overlook it. So the very base of having blockchain right now is giving decentralized authority, which means you own what you share. That is the
Yes.
foundation. As I mentioned, the first point, information, how the blocks are created. I covered that. And as you create more, the ledger is created, the blocks is individual. So, for example, your blocks, your transactions are specific to you. Even if you're transferring to somebody else, your information only is creating a chain. It is not getting accumulated, unlike how it happens with e-wallets, etc. So that is how a blockchain functions. Now, decentralization, as I mentioned, you do not require a central authority. That is not the purpose, because once you get control, privacy is definitely being diminished here, because it's, I give a very simple example. I'd seen the videos on YouTube, and the example of kitty parties was very specifically given, where a group of women, usually they come together, they enjoy, they have drinks. But the chit fund example that they take up, for example, they accumulate money, they get $100 each, for example, 12 women, they get it together, and there's a lucky draw, and so one of the person gets all 1200 bucks. So in this example, you see nobody is having an authority over anyone, nobody is handling the entire operations. It is mutual. All of them are performing their specific function of donating their shares, and a lucky draw is collected by anyone. It could be any of those 12 people. It might change every time, and finally the lucky draw winner gets the entire sum of rupees. So decentralized authority. Everybody has a say in what is happening. Unlike here in corporate financial transactions, there are authorities. There's a bank, or there is the central bank, or the regulators, and we do not have a choice but to compare to them and not have our own ways of operations, because it has to be unified. There's a huge crowd getting into this right now. Blockchain or cryptocurrency is still not having that necessary foundational people. It is still very fresh, and people fear that if the demand increases, authority might become necessary, but that defeats the purpose of having blockchain. So
Yes.
decentralization is another point which with which the blockchain is existing right now. And finally, security. Now, it is a very, very coded, very cryptographic transactions that take place. It is almost impossible for hackers to even know what to decode, for example, to get any of the information or to block any transactions, because every block that is created virtually is having a public key, which is for the people you interact with on blockchain, and there's a private key which is special only to you, and nobody can hack that unless they hack into your server, etc., and get the information. Even you yourself might not know your private key. It is that it's like a password and a very password protected formation that takes place. So hackers might not even know how to get started with hacking into blockchain, but there are definitely some challenges to it, and it's not totally private or not hackable at all. That is not the point right now. There might be some ways, but it is not yet been figured out properly, and there is a lot of things that goes into it, but we'll get into the next step right now, which is application of blockchain. Right now, we're thinking blockchain is Bitcoin, which is not true. It's not only used for cryptocurrency. There are
Yes.
so many more applications. So
Yes.
first point is money transfer, as I told, cryptocurrency getting foundation. The main reason why Satoshi Nakamoto is apparently the founder of blockchain and cryptocurrency, he had to get both of those together because there was no incentive for people to join blockchain. The biggest challenge that blockchain faces is training people to use it, because the concept of miners. You have to solve complex algorithms, solve complex mathematical problems to gain bitcoins, and you need huge software to actually keep blockchain with you. So not everybody can get into blockchain. There are only a few apps right now who have that necessary funding, and they're operating over it. And it is fresh market. Startup ideas can definitely focus towards Bitcoin because it's here, blockchain, because it is here to stay. But the entire foundational aspect is a huge investment. But those who are into crypto trading, etc., know the ease of transaction once you are accustomed to the process, and the safety, the security that exists. Nobody knows what is happening in that front, and you get your money or you spend your money, etc. It is very fluctuating right now. The price of Bitcoin, another challenge.
Yes.
However,
Yes.
it will definitely stabilize soon. There are definitely steps taken by financial advisors to actually advise these apps how you could formulate them. Second, and these are all hypothetical ones, some countries like USA, one or two other countries have actually using this in their healthcare operation, which is basically a record of patients.
In
Before I
healthcare
discuss,
operations, I have one example which I have come across a case study recently.
yes, please.
Blockchain is currently being used as a function or a resource for having a research on the diseases such as coronavirus, AIDS, including H1N1. Because what happens is that uh, you know private organizations or maybe some individuals who have really good brains but do not have that many resources. The basic fundamental of blockchain is that the whole of the world is sharing its resources. We are sharing a common platform. Maybe the computer which I'm currently using uh, is uh, is used as a resource for the particular blockchain network. They are using my computer's RAM, and they are attaching it with some other people's RAM who might be sitting in, say, Europe or US or Africa, and all of our RAM is getting combined. My 4 GB, their 8 GB, their 16 GB is collectively forming as 1 TB RAM, and just you can imagine how fast a computer can become by using such RAM. And by this, people are actually trying to get into research of so many things which otherwise would have involved so much of cost.
Right.
So in healthcare, it is a fantastic achievement by some people. This might be called as the virtualization of resources or whatsoever, but healthcare sector will have robust information, what and particular information about some difficult disease which would have been difficult in absence of blockchain. So
Absolutely.
it's fantastic.
That's a wonderful example you've given. Exactly how it makes the entire foundation of RAMs and sharing of information so easy.
So
Definitely.
basically, under the blockchain, the motto of this proper technology should be the world is one.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes. It's a relationship building right here in blockchain.
Yes. Yes.
So, as you give an example, similarly, I had one. When somebody is getting diagnosed for particular disease, etc., somebody is not feeling well, it takes some time to create the entire diagnosis analysis. What is the person's capability of handling certain operations or certain chemicals, etc. It takes some time before you can actually perform the operations. Many a times that delay actually worsens the conditions of diseases, or it might be life threatening. However,
Yes.
a concept called a health helpline number was started by the government recently, where you can actually store your medical records and can get access to it individually once you call in that number. So once you call them and say, this is currently what I'm facing, so can I have my health records, that the doctors understand what exactly are can be operated over me, what can be risky, etc. Another concept of health cards also is brought into, so that you know the entire medical history and know exactly what to operate with and what not to operate. So
Yes.
similarly, that process is going to get so much faster and so much private. You don't need transparency in this aspect, right? Because your personal health records are personal to you and to that doctor who requires that doctor, not even the hospital. So
Yeah.
that can be created by using blockchain. Records of these patients, their medical history, what they're allergic to, or what allopathy, homeopathy, what might adjust to them, what might not. Everything can be accessed to within minutes by the doctor, and the operations success can be faster, or more
Yes.
better, using the blockchain. So it's a wonderful application which healthcare has for recording patients history. Coming to the next point is tax processing. Right now the GST compliance is very complicated for corporates, because you have tax brackets, you have certain tax exemptions, and you have many tax saving instruments where you invest money, and
Yes.
sometimes the government is not able to keep track. Right, Varad, you could maybe give some examples of how avoidance of tax is a big problem, and keeping that record is very difficult.
Yes, definitely. So Akash, basically, we can see that currently the income tax department has come up with the idea of AIS, that is the annual information summary,
Mhm.
where what income tax department does is that collect your information from throughout the country wherever your PAN is linked. So,
Correct.
for example, if you trade on your platform from your mobile, for example, in the morning, market opens and you sell a few shares of Infosys Limited from your Demat account, the
Correct.
income tax department is directly going to have information as to this guy has sold these many amount of quantity, he has earned capital gains of this amount, and so your capital gains tax liabilities this much, pay us the tax.
Correct.
So this is very small example of blockchain, which I guess income tax department of India has come up with, where you can simply go to the income tax portal, download it, and then once your assessment starts, you can simply think that, oh, these are all my incomes are. I don't need any chartered accountant or any of the tax return preparer to file my income tax return. I just need to check my AIS. Okay, income tax department, these are all my incomes. You already know it. You might have already calculated tax, so I am also declaring the same. I am
Correct.
paying this amount. Matter is closed. So we can basically understand how far the income tax department has gone in terms of their vision to bring the all categories of money which is flowing into the economy under tax bracket.
Mhm.
If I talk about GST, simply GST department is also coming up with the idea of something not just similar as AIs, but they are coming up with the idea of outward supply register,
Mhm.
which is like wherever your GSTIN number gets captured, they are going to consider it as your outward supply, and you have to pay your GST liability on the same.
Right.
If if for whatsoever reason you declare your output liability lesser than what GST department thinks, you are going to get a love letter from department. So point here is that the government and the revenue authorities are making such a reports or such a database in their capacity that they get as much as revenue as possible from the country, and that is
Right.
only possible because of blockchain and the related technologies. So this is
Definitely.
going to have a revolutionary change in the finance industry. It will fuel the country's growth like nothing. It is the second to nothing. It's the technology is amazing.
That is so true. Finance industry is going to definitely, push blockchain's implementation in all of its subsidiaries. For example, loan compliance, insurance, um, money making, crowdfunding, etc. Everything will be so easier on blockchain. So they'll be the front runners in making blockchain available in all the sectors. Right, and a wonderful example also given by you, Varad. It's so clear as how the implementation takes place. So here I'll move on to the next point itself, which is supply chain. So if you guys remember, in season one, we had made a video about RCEP and why India was not a part of it, because India wanted the origin of goods and where the entire supply chain enters. That transparency was required so that we understand some countries do not take advantage of it and go for cheaper ways to import inside India or export into India. So that was the reason why India backed out, and that could be avoided if there was the blockchain technology which took place. Because here the ledger or the blockchain that creates records every single place where the good has been and where it is going, and those nobody can harm those records. Those records are kept and can be accessed only by the person who requires access to that block of information where the goods are from, where it is coming. Right now, supply chain and logistics is something which is research on so much. We have the Lean Six Sigma rules also, which is helping in logistical operations, because today major startups run on logistics. Let it be startups like Zomato, Swiggy, let it be WeWork or Dunzo, etc. Those are very complicated brackets of delivering food or delivering any product that is required. So research on that is being made a lot, and blockchain is one way where the entire research implementation can take place easier, because first of all transactions are required to be entered before any operation takes place, whereas in normal terms, non-billable billable still exists. That won't exist in blockchain. And second, you do not have to worry about who accesses information. It is special to you. And similarly, coming to the tax processing also, you would record transaction, everything that is special to you. But when you go ahead and file your tax returns, etc., on blockchain, some transactions which may seem fishy, which is not complying to how much amount or is being sent to the place, that transaction be cancelled. So it is difficult to even cheat on blockchain, and nobody will even get to know. So it's your personal humility which is taking place, which definitely can be avoided when people are more honest, more transparent. That's what people fear. So transparency. Why would people get involved in it? Because honest business operations is required, and blockchain will make sure that is implemented. Similarly, in supply chain too, where it is going to, where it is entering, and how much is the transaction fee, your marginal returns, everything is recorded on point. So that is how blockchain can help revolutionize how we think about business operation. It is mechanized and made faster while avoiding all the illegal or corrupt practices which is taking place. So that's just making life swifter and transparent and easier. So that is the reason why we wanted to have this session, because people do not understand the application yet. It's just blockchain exists. It's a complicated software. That's all people know. Here is how it could be implemented in real life practices.
Yes.
All right. So just going to one last aspect, which is challenges of blockchain. Number one, if you're talking about a country like India, educating is going to be a big threat, because even talking about the World Wide Web, which was initiated right in 1990s, yet people are facing difficulties handling it, because urban audience is very much accustomed to it. Daily operations take place on it, but the rural sector, which is about 70% of the country, still do not really know how they can gain access. Smartphones, etc., have come in and are helping them getting closer to the World Wide Web, getting closer to e-payments, all these transactions, but digital security or digital awareness is still very less. So implementing blockchain throughout is definitely close to impossible for at least 50 to 60 years. However, implementing in one sector or two sectors where more of urban audience are gaining access to it, that could be possible. That is one. Second, we do not yet know if it is unhackable. Like there are no big security threats that have come in with Bitcoin, etc. So we know it is safe, definitely, but we are unaware about the challenges, and that freaks people out. There are legitimate hackers who are trying to see if it is possible to gain access to random transactions which take place in blockchain, etc. but it is still fresh waters for them. So it will take some time to gain ground before making transactions more legitimate. Third, we do not know the origin of cryptocurrency and blockchain. That is very much phase out. So we understand this thing about having transparency, but we do not have transparency of where these concepts originated. So skepticism among the politicians, the people, etc., is a big threat. And fourth, no authority will scare the government, will scare the politicians. How can operations take place? How can legitimate business operations take place? Because we do not have access to it. But the point is, if not required, then you do not need access to it. You do not have to see every operation that takes place. Only when you have the control, for example, tax compliance or any other thing, when people need the access, they can take it. They can take the public key and they can operate it. Otherwise, it's not required. So, it is a choice of transparency and a choice of privacy. You have both available. Choose when you want to take one. That acceptance will take some time in a country like India. It is definitely in smaller countries, it is getting accepted. We have Mauritius, which is being termed the Ethereum country, I think, if I'm not wrong. That is a term given to it. So it definitely takes some time for having legitimate operations and bigger real-time applicability. But these are our thoughts, our consolidated thoughts about blockchain. Or if you have something more to add here, you can about blockchain.
Yeah, actually, as you said, Akash, blockchain is a technology which is in the nascent stage currently. To evolve the blockchain technology, we will need the support from the governments also, because if you clearly see that blockchain's fundamentals are based on the fact that it should not have any centralized authority. If I give you an example, like what happened in 2016, a note ban came into existence. From the very next day, the country was shocked, and the honest people of the country were also somewhere affected by these kind of sudden decisions by the government.
Definitely.
If I talk about the blockchain, so before we get to it, I'm not kind of supporting any kind of move regarding demonetization or something. I'm just telling about how governments can face the fear of blockchain somehow. If I so I was moving to our example. If I say that the Bitcoin is going to be banned, you can say that, okay, that there is a government of a particular country which is currently banning it, but certainly rest of the world will continue to operate because no one knows where it originates from.
Right.
And that also, somehow makes us think that, is it really good to have bitcoins or these kind of cryptocurrencies in blockchain network to be a part of our lives? Because many uh, terrorist outfits or many illegal transactions also go through the blockchain, because there is no RBI or FEMA Act which will be governing the flow of money.
Correct.
So all these things need to be seen. We need to have our eyes on the future for what blockchain brings. Now let's move into the topic of NFTs. Lately, you must have heard about NFTs so many times, and you must have heard it on the basis of the monies which it's fetching from the sale. So now let's just get into NFTs. I'm just frankly telling, it is not something which is very rocket science concept. It is vague. Definitely, it is imaginary. But let's see. Let's enjoy the explanation of what is NFT and what is not. So NFT basically stands for non-fungible token. For a minute, let's replace the word fungible by replaceable. So what the word becomes is non-replaceable token. What do you mean by non-replaceable token? It's just similar to as I'm going to the registrar's office and booking my copyright. Suppose I'm making a film, I want some copyright on the poster of that film. So I go to registrar office, I say, take this piece. Now onwards, this name, this movie, this hero, heroine will be playing whatever role they are playing in my movie will be my copyright. I have the right to sell it. Now what happens is that suppose someone tries to breach my copyright, I can simply go to registrar's office, sue him, and say that, hey, you are using my property, it's illegal. In blockchain network, what is copyright? We can understand through the help of NFTs. I'll give you like another example. When me and Akash used to study in college, we used to, many times exchange notes of a particular chapter, though we used to study from a same maths teacher, same teacher, everything. So what did make our notebooks different? Maybe Akash realized something new while copying his notes, and he noted that thing, which could make my preparation before exams much more easier. So what I do is I ask Akash कि आकाश मेरे को तू तेरा book दे दे, मैं copy कर लूँगा. So now, if I say that me and Akash, suppose this was that notebook, obviously this is something else, but let's say this was that notebook that we purchased from a nearby stationery store, which is exactly same, but the content of that notebook is different. So if I say that this notebook, these were manufactured in lots of thousands. So in this world, there are thousands of notebooks. But what makes each of the notebook difficult is that the noting, which is being made in this notebook. Another example is, let's say, as a finance enthusiast, one book is there called Psychology of Money, which many of you might have come across, or some of you might have read also. So the copies of that books are being sold in millions. I too have that copy in front of me right now. And if I say that my book, my copy of the Psychology of Money is different, how can I say that? I can say that just because I have noted something. If you just read those parts from that book, I can say that you have understood the book completely. So that's what makes my copy original. Now, what NFT is basically? NFT is basically a copyright for an image or a particular graphics which you found to be very impressive. You have created it and you have ability or desire to sell it to someone. Now, as Akash explained in the previous part of the video, that in blockchain technology, everything is validated by the group of computers, group of networks, which is not regulated, but everything is in public ledger. So you can't have basically an illegitimate transaction. And the NFT, that's why forms part of blockchain, which makes it irreplaceable. That is non-fungible, non-replaceable. So now you must have seen recently that some apes or some cats were in the particular image which was animated and it moved in a random manner, and that particular NFT earned millions of dollars by the sale online. And that was only the thing, to be honest, which caught your attention towards this topic. Because unless something has the value or something has the, better say, monetary value, the viewer's attention is not sought by all those things. So that's all about NFTs. And NFT is just like I'll give you another example, because this topic is basically, if I talk in proper English and technical terms, it is not going to be understood by anyone. So let me take another example. I go to Paris, and there is a famous museum where the painting of Mona Lisa is hanged over the wall. And I think that this painting is not so difficult. I can get it in my nearby gift shop also. So I go to my nearby gift shop, purchase a poster of Mona Lisa, frame it in a plastic golden frame, and put it on sale. It is not going to be sold for more than $2 or $3 in rupee terms, not more than 100 rupees, 200 rupees, or whatsoever, because the original copyright of that image is with authorities who are sitting there in Paris. It might be with the government of France or whatsoever. In similar, in similar sense, whatever is copyrighted or whatever is private can be called as NFT in the form of images or graphics. That's it. That's, it's as simple as that. I will tell you one more thing. Like now, if some of the people are thinking that, so what's the point? If I say that I recently I saw an NFT on my phone, I can simply screen record it, make another NFT out of it, sell it on internet, and I can make a lot of money. But here the basic concept of blockchain comes. You can't simply do copyright infringement, or you can't simply claim ownership of an NFT by copying it from someone. Because if you say that I can copy the NFT, then blockchain is there to stop you, first of all. Next thing is that, as per human psychology, the more copies are made, the value of original starts rising. So if I say that there are my nearby gift shop owner brings stacks of Mona Lisa paintings every month to sell it throughout our locality, but that's what something makes the original one in Paris become more valuable. So that's why currently we can see the prices of the NFTs which are being sold online are too high. Maybe some are being sold for recently $3.8 million, which was highest bid ever. And as I say, blockchain and NFTs are too closely interrelated, because the word tokens in the NFT word, the token word is basically which comes from the blockchain technology. Token is basically a right which only you have and nobody else can claim it on the network, come what may. So that's all about NFTs. With a lot of examples, I have tried to cover it, and I'm sure you must have understood. And by seeing this on maybe Instagram, newspapers, even sometimes I think that I should make some random pictures and some cats and monkeys dancing around and sell my NFTs for say $1 million, by which I will not have to do anything for rest of my life. So that's not actually the case. Selling NFTs is basically very new concept, and by hearing that 2 or 3 NFTs are being sold, that doesn't mean that you can also do something miraculous in that blockchain network. Obviously, this is not to discourage our viewers to not do such things, but this is something which is very new, and it's pure luck which you might get, you never know, by selling the NFT. And many times question also comes that I'm new to this blockchain network, can I start investing in NFTs as stocks, as or basically can I treat NFTs as an asset class, to be frank? So NFTs is actually can't be treated as an asset class, because if you take a company, let's say you bought Reliance Industries in 1997, you knew that there is a company which does the business around my locality, or it will have some future value. It is not the same case with the NFTs. You never know who likes your apes and monkeys, and then you can make money out of it. So for newbies, I can say that you can go through these concepts. You can have a try on couple of NFTs being traded on platforms, but being in this as a business might be risky. So I highly don't recommend this to be your mentality to look at it. So it's all about NFTs. It's very clear. It's very simple to understand. That's it for NFTs. Yeah.
Definitely, you've given some very simple examples how you understand the operations of NFT, how it is in existence. As you mentioned, there's no definitive purpose or objective which NFT is fulfilling here, except giving some celebrities and some influencers money's worth for having an original concept on NFT.
Yeah.
That is the only thing. That is why even Yuvraj Singh or Amitabh Bachchan is interested, because they do not require those funds from selling your NFTs, but they're interested to be in that original concept of having something of your own up there, and people are bidding for it. Just that it's yours. It is something that you own. Your right is up there. So that is exactly why people are kind of skeptical of it just being a phasing trend, and hence it not be an investment opportunity or an asset class, as Varad mentioned, but
Yeah.
it is something that the higher HNIs are definitely interested in, because they wanted original ownership out there as an NFT. So that is what is encouraging them to pursue. So
Yeah.
really, good examples given by you, Varad, here, and
Thanks.
I'm pretty sure our viewers have understood blockchain and NFT in a better manner, if not in a complete manner. We could give you some practical, capability of you getting invested with the information. So I hope you like this session. Do drop in a like, do drop in comments about how the session was. If you want us to cover any more topics, we are more than welcome for suggestions. And do share this video with your friends who are interested with these buzzwords, and let them know what they actually are.
Yes.
So thank you so much, guys, and see you soon.